Hey, we live in a world where we often celebrate nonstop hustle and grinding. I am choosing a healthier rhythm. I will be modeling balance and not burnout. So the Grant Writing Made Clear show is moving from weekly to bi-weekly episodes in season 2 so I can keep episodes thoughtful, useful, and sustainable while taking care of my well-being. So be on the lookout for new episodes in season 2 every other Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe so you are alerted when a new episode is released. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. Welcome to Grant Writing Made Clear. The truth is, the grant writing process isn't always clear, but with the right guidance, proven actionable strategies, and expert insights, the process becomes easier, simpler, and yes, clearer. I am Dr. Trenette, your host of Grant Writing Made Clear, and a former nonprofit president turned distinguished professor and behavioral scientist with 2 decades of grant writing experience. I remember what it was like to be a busy nonprofit leader with little time but big financial sustainability concerns. Over the years, I have transformed my skills from securing $1,000 foundation grants to winning multi-million-dollar federal grants. I created this podcast in response to the grant writing coaching requests I've received from nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and professors over the years. Join me each week as I reveal insider strategies and share key lessons that turn wishful thinking into winning applications. Pull up a seat and get ready to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. Whether you're a beginner or a pro looking to sharpen your skills and create a life you love, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to Grant Writing Made Clear, where we navigate the complex world of funding together and where your growth and impact are my purpose. I am your host, Dr. Trenette, and I am so glad you're here as we kick off season 2. It's unbelievable. I have chills. Can you believe it? We are back for season 2. I am just so thankful to all of you who tuned in last season and those of you who are here and new for this season. I have so much in store for this season. It's going to be great. So thank you again for being here. And I'm excited about kicking off this season 2. So I want to do a bit of a recap. You all know that this summer I took a sabbatical, not from everything, but from grant writing coaching in particular. I still had a few work commitments. I still had family commitments. My children are very, very active. But I pressed pause on coaching because I knew I needed space to breathe, to think, and to come back renewed and refreshed. And, within that period, I did find time to disconnect, not just from grant writing coaching, but also from everything except family, right? For me, I'm always going to be very active in my family. So I didn't disconnect from family, but I certainly disconnected from work when I had the opportunity, from volunteering. And so I am so appreciative of the opportunity to take a moment to pause. I gave myself permission to pause because I know that we live in a world where we are rewarded for continuing. And I wanted to reward myself with a pause. I think it's important that we don't just go. So let me tell you what I did while we were away from Grant Writing Made Clear. Some of you may remember this, especially if you're in our Facebook group. Are you in the Facebook group? I talked a little bit about this there, and that is I had the opportunity to go to Paris. I presented at 2 international conferences there, and it was truly an incredible experience. I was privileged to hear about research happening all over the world. I met people from Poland, New Zealand, truly all over the world. And one of the presentations that resonated with me the most was a presenter who is a professor in London. And he presented about truancy. And he explained that in London, their school attendance policy is pretty strict, right? Like parents are fined immediately for any absences, even excused absences. So if your child is sick, you are fined. And I can't remember the fine. I think it was maybe about $30 or $40 per day. But what I found really interesting is so parents are being fined when their children are absent, even when they are excused absences. But what was really interesting was that if you don't pay the fine within 30 days, the fine almost doubles. And so it really escalates quite significantly. And it got me thinking about how different cultures handle social problems, right? So in the US, we use a lot of truancy courts. And in London, they fine people. And it just, again, got me thinking about how different cultures handle social problems. And it sparked new ideas for my own work. And so I want to say to you that we can think of new ideas for the work that we're doing that we want to fund by talking to people, by meeting people, by attending conferences and hearing others' thoughts, hearing how other people do the work they do. And for me, that's exactly what happened. It was great to go to hear other people present their work because it sparked new ideas in me. And as I said, I also gave 2 presentations there. I was able to share my lab's research and my insights on youth substance use prevention at these conferences. And even as I presented, people asked questions, which sparked new ideas. So I just wanted to say, during my sabbatical, I did go to Paris and had a great time there. My family went with me, and that was wonderful. But what I really enjoyed was the opportunity to hear how different cultures address their social problems and to have conversations with colleagues that sparked ideas for me in my own work. So I want to encourage you to talk to people, to meet with people, to go have coffee, to go to lunch with people, to go to conferences. Don't sit in your office or your cubicle or your home office and just work in a silo. I think we do our best work when we are talking to people, when we are learning from people. And so just wanted to encourage you to do that. We also went to London, and London was great. We took the Eurostar train over to London, and in London, of course, we had high tea. We had to have high tea. I had my dress and my gloves and my hat on. It was so much fun. We saw Big Ben. We went to Buckingham Palace. We saw the Queen's Church. It was really a beautiful experience because London is beautiful. Paris is beautiful, but to me, London was really stunning. And just being able to watch my children take in those sights and process the differences and similarities in European and American cultures reminded me that joy and cultural experiences matter just as much as explicit academic experiences. So my children did a camp-free summer, and we really were out and about learning. And I appreciated the opportunity to have them learn from an implicit kind of a curriculum. And, they notice the little things that we sometimes might forget about, but they notice the little differences across the cultures. And it was incredible to have conversations with them. And you all, guess what? We also went on a glamping trip. We went on a glamping trip. So I am not an outdoorsy kind of a girl at all. I am from the South. I'm from a tiny rural town in the South, but I am not outdoorsy at all. But my children, I had them do a summer bucket list, and my son had on his bucket list to go camping. So I discovered glamping. I had never heard of glamping. All I knew was camping out in the woods, in the grass with sleeping bags. And that's fun and cool, but not quite what I want to do if I can help it. And so I went looking, searching, and I discovered glamping, which is a much better fit for me. And so we went glamping. We went out to this little area in South Carolina. We stayed in a tiny but very, very modern and cute camper that had all the necessities. So we had a nice bathroom with a shower and a toilet. We had the stove, the desk. We had two nice queen beds. Like, this is a modern kind of a camping situation here. And it was really cool. Now, we did not have a TV. That was intentional. So there was no TV by design. They also had a storage box for phones because they really want you to unplug and to step away. And it really was a nice opportunity for us just to step away from the phone, from social media, from YouTube, all those kinds of things. And we were surrounded by trees and other little tiny campers. And so we went to the market and we made a campfire. We cooked our dinner. We enjoyed s'mores. We played board games. It was so much fun. And I like to say we went glamping. It was nature, but it was certainly nature with a side of comfort. So maybe you can say we cheated a bit. I don't know. All I can say is my children enjoyed it. And it really helped to make for a fun and exciting summer. So glamping is something we also did. We also did a last minute vacation to Negril, Jamaica. Our family went there and we were all on the beach, taking in the sun, enjoying the resort, pools, lots of pools, and my children love to swim, so they enjoyed that. Everything was wonderful. So we just had a great, great summer. Like I said, we really made this a camp-free summer by vacationing a lot, but we also didn't just stop learning. And my children had an opportunity to write books this summer. And some of you may know that my daughter wrote her first book when she was finishing up kindergarten. And my son wrote his first book over the summer, which he really started on his own, wrote almost all of it on his own before I helped him. And then my daughter wrote her second book, and we're still finishing their books. But it was really nice to spend the summer writing books and talking about those books. What could make it stronger? What is it coherent? Is it engaging? So we really had a good time this summer writing books as well. We're finishing those up. But watching my children become little authors, truly one of my greatest joys this summer. They reminded me why we write, and it is because we want to help others. We want to have impact. We want to leave something here that will outlast us. And it just warms my heart so much to think about all the little things we did this summer that I don't have time to talk about, but we did so many little things that fed my soul. It fed my soul. And yes, I had time to sleep in some mornings. I had the opportunity to stay up late some nights, and I let my body do what it needed to do, which was rest, set its own rhythm. And I think that's where real restoration happens, when we allow our bodies to do what it needs to do. And I am so appreciative. Now, I do want to be honest. I told people that I was taking a break from the podcast and from coaching. And there were times when at work I was traveling and I put my away message on, or maybe there were times when I really, truly did take a step back for my family and for myself. And let me tell you what happened while I was away. The moment I announced I was stepping back because I needed to, it seemed that people came out of nowhere needing support. I mean, truly out of nowhere. I received emails from people I had not heard from in a decade. I received requests for all kinds of things from people as soon as I took a break, because the world goes on. That's the reality. And I had people who searched for my personal phone number and were texting me with requests. It was really incredible. And it seemed that the moment I created much overdue time to step away from myself, everyone needed me. And, it reminds me to some extent of what it's like to be a parent or even a professional. Sometimes it can feel like a thankless job. You're doing all this work behind the scenes and nobody really notices. And it seems like the moment you take a break to sit down, all of a sudden they notice. So when you're busy and you're doing the laundry and you're cooking and you're running errands, no one notices. But as soon as you take a break, now everybody remembers. Now everybody is calling you. And that was me this summer. It's just the reality, I think, of being human, that you may pause, but the world continues for others. And even though you have expressed that, they still have their needs. And sometimes they won't really think about your needs. And that's why I really do agree with Trisha Hersey when she says rest is resistance, because I think it is resistance against the very idea that we have to always be available, that you're supposed to always be available, that we have to be always available. It's resistance against the guilt-driven yes. You're taking time to rest and to restore your body. Someone asks you something and you feel guilty and you need to say yes. It's resistance against those yeses. It's resistance against burnout, knowing that if you provide what they need as you're trying to rest, it keeps you closer to burnout. So it really is resisting against the need to be everything to everyone all the time. And so you may be asking, why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this in the very first episode of season 2? And it's because it's not just my story. It's not just my summer story. It's also a mirror for your story. When you decide to step away, whether it be for a sabbatical, a research leave, vacation, or just a 2-day break, you may face pressure. The world will not step back. That's the reality. People won't stop needing things. You may feel guilty. You'll wonder if you should take a break from your pause to give them what they need. But if you always say yes to everyone, you will constantly be saying no to yourself. And that's just not sustainable. And so I want you to hear this from me now, yes, in episode 1 of season 2, because you may be on sabbatical now. You may be preparing to go on sabbatical, or maybe you're preparing to go on vacation or do a 4-day weekend away. I want you to know that you have to protect your rest like you protect everything else, fiercely. I want you to know that you will have to set boundaries and resist saying yes during your breaks, during your pauses, because you truly are saying no to yourself and lessening what you need and keeping you closer to that burnout stage if you continue to say yes to everyone all the time. We need to pause and ask why so many of us are overextended and burnt out in the first place. A big part of it comes down to how we spend our time. Too often, our days are consumed by endless emails, like email after email after email. Some of us keep our inboxes up, our emails open, and so we're consumed by email after email. We're consumed by consecutive meetings, including me. There are days when literally I don't have a single break in my day. And we're consumed by all these check the box tasks that doesn't always feel meaningful. In fact, author Lisa Bodell points out that on average, we spend only 14% of our time on truly meaningful work because we are doing things that keep us busy, but are not necessarily meaningful. And of course, things like better sleep and healthy eating and yoga, box breathing, wellness days at work, all these kinds of healthy activities are helpful, but they are not enough on their own for the amount of work that we have on our plates, for the amount of demands that we have on our time. And so to really address burnout, we have to go upstream and examine the root causes of the burnout. And so again, you have all this on your plate, but what are the root causes for the burnout? What are the root causes for the dissatisfaction? Is it that our workplace culture is psychologically unsafe? Are we saying yes to too many projects? Have we normalized an always on kind of an environment? Are our meetings scheduled back to back with no space to breathe? What's happening day to day that is placing a burden on who we are and who we are meant to be. And so this year, I am being more intentional, not only about my own health, but I am being intentional about creating healthier rhythms for my team. And so one powerful change that I'm making in my lab is shifting meetings so that they end at the 50 and the 20. So the meetings are ending on the 50s and the 20s, which gives us a 10-minute buffer to take a break, to stretch, to do some squats. And I believe that this small change will create the opportunity for wellness, to rest, to stretch, to step outside, to take a bio break, or just to sit at your desk and let your mind wander, to stare out the window and to take in nature. This mental freedom that I'm hoping we will have now that I've created this 10-minute buffer should lead to better ideas, more creativity, higher quality work, because we have the opportunity for our mind to rest and recover. You think about working out. For those of us who work out, you work out, but you have rest and recovery days. And that's part of muscle building. Resting and recovering is part of muscle building because we need that. We need that day to day, hour to hour. And so that's one of the things I'm doing in my lab is creating space for us to have mental freedom. But here's the key. This only works when it is supported at the organizational level. So I'm controlling what I can control. However, many of my meetings I can't control. They are set by the system. And so if you are an administrator or a leader listening today, I want you to know you play a huge role in setting the tone in your environment. When you normalize healthier practices, when you normalize people knowing it's okay to take a break, it creates an environment where people know that if they need to get up and take a bio break, they can do it. If they need to get up and take a walk around the department, they can do that. And so no one feels like they're breaking the rules or being a bad team player by taking a break. And so, so that's one of the things I'm doing is creating that buffer so that we have time to think. And here's the reality, and I've said this for years, not everything needs to be a meeting. You can share updates asynchronously through quick voice memos, Loom videos, and obviously emails. Sometimes what would have taken 60 minutes in a meeting can be replaced with a 20-minute asynchronous exchange. And that gives people more time back in their day to do quality work, to recover so that they can do better work. And now I understand that there are times when meetings are necessary. And when those meetings are necessary, they should be thoughtful and strategic. And so you might want to ask yourself, does this meeting need to happen as frequently as it's happening? Sometimes we're meeting weekly when really a monthly meeting would suffice. And so you want to think about that. How often do we need to meet? Do we need to meet? What is sufficient? And ask yourself, could the same outcome be achieved via email? Do we need to be in person? And so you imagine what you and your team could do with the extra time. What could you do? You could write a better grant proposal. You could conceptualize a stronger grant idea. So our time is precious. And the way we protect it is making sure we're doing meaningful work and not simply busy work. The point is, meetings are not bad in themselves. They can build community. They can build connection, but when meetings are unnecessary and unfocused, they can truly become one of the biggest drivers of burnout. And so we want to be intentional with our time so that we not only protect our well-being, but we also create the conditions for our very best work. So I am again giving you permission to pause, permission to insert a buffer into your day, multiple buffers into your day. The work never ends. Here's the kicker. The work never ends. That's the truth. If you're an academic, you know we say it all the time. The work never ends. But here's what I want you to hear me say. The work never ends, but life does. Life does. That's what we have to remember. For most of us, the work is endless, but we are not. The work is endless. We are not. So we have to ensure we are treating our time, our bodies with respect, recognizing that time is precious, life is precious. Think about how you're using your time. Is it meaningful work? Are you taking care of yourself? Really quickly before we close today, because I've talked about sabbaticals, I've talked about how to protect your time. I do want to give you a sneak peek into this season. We will cover a combination of topics focused explicitly on grant writing and those that are also relevant to grant writing. So we'll discuss grant writing strategies. I'll be breaking down the grant writing process. We'll talk about grant calendars, how to choose the right grants, what to learn when a grant is not funded. We'll talk about leadership. Leadership is really important if you win a grant. We'll talk about sustainability, mindsets, overcoming imposter syndrome, setting goals, saying no. We'll talk about self-care, how to avoid burnout, how to rest. And we'll sprinkle in some interviews with people. I have a few scheduled already for the next few weeks, and so I'm excited about that. You all might remember that last year we had a few incredible guests. And so, yeah, I have a few people already scheduled to come and talk to us about grant writing. Some are going to talk about leadership. I have people coming to talk about self-care. So this season will be well balanced because we need to take care of ourselves in order to do the work that we believe we've been called to do. So here's today's takeaway. I want you to remember, I said a lot of different things, but I want you to remember that rest is resistance. It is an active measure of resisting everyone's desire to have 24/7 access to you. It's resisting the feeling that you have to give even when you're empty, that you have to give even when you're empty. I want you to know that rest is essential for the work we do. I want you to know that we have to protect our well-being to do the work we want to do. And as we step into this season together, I challenge you to schedule rest, to be mindful of how you use your time. Maybe it's saying no. Maybe it's 20 minutes without your phone. Maybe it's a spa day or a weekend away. Whatever it is, I want you to protect your wellness. I want you to set boundaries around your time so that you have the foundation to write these grant applications. I do want to share with you that I've been listening to you. Those of you who are in the Facebook group have been commenting. Some of you have DM'd me. And I want you to know, based on your feedback, I am putting together a special workshop that I plan to host in October or early November about navigating today's funding landscape and finding the right opportunities for you. So we're going to be talking about how to find funding in this environment. And so the workshop will likely be early November. I'll announce the exact date soon, but I want to promise you it is designed to give you clear, actionable strategies that you can use right away. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend. I do hope something I said today was helpful. I hope it was worth your time. Again, welcome back to Grant Writing Made Clear. I'm so excited about season 2. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss this season's episodes. And don't forget to join our Facebook group if you are not there. And don't forget to join our workshop that's coming up. Until next time, I hope you rest, resist, and do what you believe you've been called to do. Take good care. Thank you for listening to Grant Writing Made Clear. I hope today's episode gave you inspiration, confidence, and clear information that you can turn into action. Remember, you are not alone. There's a whole community here striving for the same impact. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a quick review to help more people find the show, and share this episode with others in your network. It really does make a difference. For more grant writing tips and resources, follow me on social media. Until next time, keep showing up, keep learning, and remain determined. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye for now.